If you and your friends are obsessed with beat-em-up games, this list is exactly what you need right now. Starting things off strong, Marvel Cosmic Invasion is easily one of the most exciting beat-em-up releases in recent years. Developed by the same studio behind Shredder's Revenge, this game lets you pick from a roster of 15 iconic Marvel superheroes, including Spider-Man, She-Hulk, Silver Surfer, and Rocket Raccoon. The 4-player co-op works both online and locally, and the tag team mechanic lets you swap characters mid-combat to chain devastating combos. The retro pixel art is gorgeous, colorful, and packed with personality. There is also a loot system and hero-specific upgrades that give each run more depth than a typical arcade brawler. For Marvel fans and genre enthusiasts alike, this one delivers on every level. Coming in next, Absolum brings a fresh and exciting angle to the beat-em-up formula by blending it with roguelike mechanics. Set in a vibrant fantasy world, the game tasks you with taking down a sun god who has consumed all magic in the land. Every run is different thanks to branching paths, randomized enemy encounters, and a robust upgrade system called rituals that radically reshapes your build mid-run. The art direction is absolutely stunning, with each region of the world carrying its own distinct visual identity. Combat demands real timing and crowd control to master, making victories feel genuinely earned. It supports co-op and is consistently praised as one of the strongest beat-em-ups available on PS5 right now. Number 3 on the list, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is pure nostalgic energy delivered in the best possible way. Up to 6 players can team up as their favorite turtles and allies to brawl through colorful pixel art stages, packed with Foot Clan enemies and familiar faces from the classic cartoon. The game nails the arcade feel with accessible button mashing gameplay that also rewards skilled players with combos and cooperative special moves. On PS5, stages load almost instantly, and performance stays smooth even in the middle of screen-filling chaos. The soundtrack is incredible, perfectly capturing the spirit of the original animated series. Whether you are playing with kids or longtime TMNT fans, this game is a guaranteed good time for everyone in the room. Moving forward to number 4, Streets of Rage 4 remains one of the finest beat-em-up games ever made, and holds up incredibly well even today. The combat system is deep and rewarding, giving each character a unique set of moves and abilities that skilled players can weave into satisfying combos. A perfectly timed attack can even restore health, adding a layer of strategy to every encounter. The hand-animated 2D art is breathtaking, with thick outlines and glowing effects that give every punch and kick real visual weight. A roguelike survival DLC mode adds even more replayability to an already packed package. It plays flawlessly on PS5 and remains the gold standard that every modern brawler is measured against. Rah Rah Boom arrives at number 5 as a surprisingly slick and stylish entry in the genre. Set in a cyberpunk future overrun by rogue AI, this game puts you in control of ninja cheerleaders fighting through waves of machines with crisp, satisfying combat. The animation is clean and punchy, and the world building gives the whole experience a lot more personality than most games in the genre tend to offer. You can upgrade your character's abilities as you progress, giving the gameplay a light RPG element that keeps things feeling fresh. The cyberpunk visual style is bold and eye-catching, making every stage feel like it belongs in a graphic novel. For fans of stylish brawlers with strong female leads, this one is an easy recommendation. Number 6 belongs to River City Girls 2, a fast-paced and hilarious beat-em-up that expands on everything the original did right. Kyoko and Misako are back with enhanced combat moves, new guard crush attacks, and lift-off combos that keep fights feeling dynamic and fun. The RPG mechanics return as well, letting you earn experience points, level up, and buy entirely new abilities from shops scattered across the city. You can even recruit defeated enemies to fight alongside you, which adds a fun strategic layer to the experience. The soundtrack is once again a highlight, packed with catchy tracks that perfectly complement the game's colorful comic book aesthetic. It is a fantastic co-op experience, whether you are playing locally or online. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World: The Game Complete Edition is number 7 and a legendary cult classic that absolutely earns its place on this list. The game captures the anarchic energy of the graphic novel and film with a brawling style that blends classic beat-em-up gameplay with RPG progression and hidden mechanics. Each character levels up separately, unlocking new moves and stats that make repeated playthroughs feel worthwhile. The retro pixel art is charming and detailed, and the soundtrack from Anna Monoguchi is one of the best in gaming history. Local and online co-op for up to 4 players makes this an ideal game night pick. If you somehow missed it the first time around, the Complete Edition on PS5 is the definitive way to experience it. Double Dragon Gaiden Rise of the Dragons lands at number 8, bringing a fresh roguelite twist to one of the most iconic franchises in beat-em-up history. The tag team mechanic is central to the experience here, letting you swap between 2 characters mid-fight to create chaotic combos and cover each other's weaknesses. Each run through the game's interconnected city districts plays out differently, thanks to randomized enemy encounters and a choice-based mission structure. The pixel art style is sharp and full of character, paying homage to the series' roots while feeling genuinely modern. There are multiple playable characters to unlock beyond the starting roster, giving the game a lot of replay value. It is a smart and satisfying evolution of the classic Double Dragon formula. Jitsu Squad arrives at number 9 as one of the more underrated brawlers on PS5. Inspired by the over-the-top chaos of Marvel vs. Capcom, the game puts 4 heroes on a mission to stop an evil sorcerer from claiming a powerful demon soulstone. The combat is fast, flashy, and deeply satisfying, with each character bringing a unique moveset and playstyle to the fight. The hand-drawn visuals are bursting with personality, giving the game a Saturday morning cartoon energy that is hard not to love. The soundtrack leans fully into Chopsaki movie vibes and absolutely delivers. 4-player co-op support makes it an ideal game to blast through with a full squad, and it remains one of the most fun co-op experiences in the genre. At number 10, Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds Ultimate brings a fighting game sensibility to the beat-em-up genre in a way that feels genuinely unique. The game features a deep progression system where characters grow stronger over time, unlocking new moves and abilities that change how they play. The nostalgic pixel art is detailed and vibrant, and the cross-platform online multiplayer means you can team up with friends regardless of which console they're on. Combat has a rhythm and precision to it that rewards players who take the time to understand each character's toolkit. The Ultimate Edition includes all previously released content, making it the most complete version of the game available. It is a fantastic pick for players who want a bit more mechanical depth in their brawler experience. Number 11 on the list, Cavern of Dreams is a charming and beautifully crafted platformer brawler that stands out thanks to its expressive art style and tight controls. The game draws clear inspiration from N64-era 3D platformers while layering in combat encounters that feel fresh and purposeful. Every area of the game is handcrafted with care, filled with secrets and surprises that reward thorough exploration. The color palette is warm and inviting, making the whole experience feel like something out of a storybook. Co-op play adds a fun social dimension to the adventure, making it a great choice for players looking for something a little different from the standard brawler formula. It is the kind of game that stays with you long after you finish it. 9 Souls comes in at number 12 as a beautifully crafted action game rooted in Taoist mythology and Asian sci-fi aesthetics. The hand-painted visuals are simply stunning, with every frame looking like it could be a piece of concept art. Combat is built around a parry-focused system that demands precision and timing, rewarding players who master its rhythms with an incredibly satisfying flow. The game's world is dark, intricately designed, and filled with lore that rewards patient exploration. While it leans more into the character action space, the co-op elements and intense brawling sequences make it a natural fit for this list. For fans of beautifully made games with real mechanical depth, 9 Souls is an essential experience. Number 13 goes to Sifu, one of the most mechanically distinctive action games in recent memory. This kung fu brawler puts you in the role of a young fighter seeking revenge for their murdered family, and every encounter is a test of skill, timing, and spatial awareness. The aging mechanic is the game's signature twist. Every time you fall in battle, you rise again, but older and closer to permanent death. Combat is deeply satisfying to master, with a real sense of weight and impact behind every punch and kick. The environments are stunning and varied, each one setting a completely different tone for the fights within. Regular updates have added new modes and accessibility options that make it a more welcoming experience for all skill levels. Fight and Rage arrives at number 14 as a love letter to the golden age of arcade brawlers, and it absolutely nails the feeling. The game features tight, responsive controls that feel like they were lifted straight from a classic CPS2 cabinet, with each character controlling in a completely distinct and satisfying way. The pixel art is incredibly detailed and animated with a smoothness that rivals games from the era it is clearly inspired by. There are multiple endings and secret routes through the game's stages, giving it replay value that extends well beyond a single playthrough. The boss fights are creative and challenging, demanding real pattern recognition and adaptability. With local co-op support, it is one of the best pure brawlers available on the platform. At number 15, Mayhem Brawler is a visually arresting beat-em-up set in an urban superhero universe, packed with comic book-style storytelling. The game features branching narrative paths where your choices during encounters actually determine which ending you reach, adding a meaningful layer of depth rarely seen in the genre. The artwork is bold and expressive, with a hand-drawn style that gives every character and environment a striking visual identity. Combat is smooth and satisfying, with a roster of characters that each play distinctly enough to encourage multiple playthroughs. Co-op support makes the whole experience more enjoyable, as coordinating abilities with a partner opens up new tactical options. It is a genuinely ambitious brawler that punches well above its weight. Final Vendetta steps up at number 16 as a masterclass in old-school brawler design executed with modern polish. The game draws clear inspiration from Final Fight and Streets of Rage 2, capturing the feel of those classics while adding enough modern sensibility to feel fresh. The character sprites are large, beautifully animated, and packed with personality, and the hand-drawn backgrounds are some of the most detailed in the genre. 3 playable characters each bring a different combat style to the table, giving players a reason to replay the game from different angles. The challenge level is real and unforgiving in the best possible way, making it a great pick for fans who want a game that demands mastery. It is a tight, focused, and deeply satisfying brawler experience. Number 17 brings in Shing, a beat-em-up that puts a heavy emphasis on real-time combat mechanics and fluid character control. What makes Shing stand out is its right-stick combat system, which lets players control attacks directly rather than relying on preset button combinations. This creates a more immediate and physical feel to every encounter, giving the game a unique identity within the genre. The anime-inspired art style is colorful and expressive, and the story is delivered with enough humor and charm to keep the campaign engaging. 4-player co-op is fully supported, making it a fun and accessible choice for a group looking to try something a little different. It is a genuinely creative take on a genre that does not always reward experimentation. Streets of Fury EX comes in at number 18 as one of the more unusual and memorable brawlers on the platform. The game uses digitized photographs of real actors as character sprites, a stylistic throwback to arcade titles from the early 90s that gives it an unmistakable visual identity. The combat is surprisingly deep, with a variety of moves and mechanics that reward players willing to engage with the system seriously. The bizarre humor and over-the-top presentation make it a consistently entertaining experience from start to finish. Co-op support turns it into a great shared experience, especially for players who appreciate games with a strong and distinct personality. It is the kind of game that is genuinely difficult to describe, but impossible to forget once you have played it. Raging Justice arrives at number 19 as a fun and straightforward brawler with a good sense of humor and satisfying gameplay. The game features 3 playable characters and a variety of stages that take you through everything from city streets to amusement parks, keeping the visual variety high throughout the campaign. One of its more entertaining mechanics involves arresting enemies rather than simply defeating them, which rewards a different approach to combat and feeds into the game's cheeky tone. The presentation is clean and colorful, and the controls feel responsive and well-tuned. Co-op support makes the whole journey more enjoyable, especially when 2 players start competing over who can pull off the most creative takedowns. It is a light and genuinely fun addition to the genre. Dawn of the Monsters takes the 20th spot as a standout entry that reimagines the beat-em-up genre through the lens of kaiju cinema. Players control enormous monster defenders, battling waves of alien creatures called Nephilim across large-scale environments that feel appropriately massive and cinematic. The art direction is exceptional, drawing on influences from classic kaiju films and modern comic books to create a completely unique visual world. A robust upgrade system lets you customize your chosen monster with new augments, rage attacks, and cataclysm abilities that completely change how you approach combat. Co-op play transforms the experience into something genuinely epic, with 2 massive monsters wreaking havoc side by side across each level. It is bold, creative, and unlike anything else on this list. Number 21 goes to God of Rock, a creative hybrid that blends beat-em-up combat with rhythm game mechanics in a surprisingly effective way. Players choose from a roster of eccentric musicians and battle each other by performing moves in time with music, combining precise rhythm inputs with brawling techniques to gain the upper hand. The character designs are wild and full of personality, and the soundtrack draws from a wide range of genres to keep every match feeling fresh. The mechanic is genuinely clever and creates a completely different kind of tension compared to a traditional brawler. Both local and online co-op and versus modes are available, giving the game a lot of versatility as a multiplayer experience. It is one of the most original games in this entire lineup. Mother Russia Bleeds arrives at number 22 as a raw, gritty, and intensely atmospheric beat-em-up set in a dark, alternate history Soviet Union. The pixel art is stunning and detailed, with a grimy, oppressive color palette that perfectly captures the game's brutal tone. The combat is visceral and satisfying, with a drug mechanic that adds both a narrative layer and a genuine gameplay system tied to managing your character's addiction. Up to 4 players can tear through the streets in co-op, which turns the experience into an intense and memorable shared nightmare. The difficulty is high, and the game does not pull its punches, making victories feel genuinely hard-earned. For players who want a brawler with real atmosphere and edge, this is essential. Alien Hominid Invasion lands at number 23 as a colorful, chaotic, and endlessly entertaining brawler with a beloved history behind it. This modern entry in the classic series features a charming cartoon art style, full of expressive animation and personality, staying true to the franchise's roots while modernizing the formula for a new generation. The game supports co-op play for up to 4 players, and the chaos of multiple players on screen at once perfectly complements the game's anarchic energy. Progression mechanics give you reasons to keep coming back across multiple runs, and the enemy variety keeps combat feeling consistently lively. It is a game that is easy to pick up and hard to put down, especially with friends. Pure, joyful, unapologetic fun from start to finish. Warhammer 40,000 Boltgun takes the 24th spot as a relentlessly satisfying old-school action experience built on the bones of classic first-person brawler shooters. Set in the grimdark universe of Warhammer 40k, you play as a space marine tearing through hordes of chaos enemies with an arsenal of iconic weapons, including the titular Boltgun. The retro pixel aesthetic is executed brilliantly, capturing the look and feel of 90s shooters while running at a perfectly smooth frame rate on PS5. Combat is fast, loud, and deeply satisfying, with a real sense of weight and power behind every weapon. The level design keeps things moving at a relentless pace, rarely giving you a moment to breathe. For Warhammer fans and retro action enthusiasts, this one is a genuine must-play. Closing out the list at number 25, the Takeover is a polished and entertaining brawler that wears its influences proudly while delivering a consistently fun experience. The game blends classic side-scrolling combat with modern production values, featuring smooth animations, well-designed stages, and a roster of characters with distinct fighting styles. The combo system is satisfying to explore, rewarding players who take the time to experiment with each character's moveset. Co-op support adds energy and strategy to every encounter, especially when players start coordinating their abilities to overwhelm groups of enemies. The pace is tight and the challenge is fair, making it accessible without ever feeling too easy. It is a strong and satisfying note to end this list on.